Hello, Clive de Carle here with the wonderful John White coming to you all the way from China. And John has got some wonderful new inventions, pretty much as always. So welcome, John. Thank you very much. And please do explain your new wonderful inventions.
Hi Clive, thank you for inviting me to your show. I always look forward to our interviews. You're an expert interviewer, and I always enjoy our chats. We've developed a few new products this year. 4 new products. I'll save the contact mode one for last, but the new products mostly are light-based, as in delivering photons to your body, either through laser or through LED. The first thing I'd like to show you is a product which you may be familiar with seeing them on sale in other places, similar devices, not quite as good as our one. We've got cold laser wrist, which is this device straps onto your wrist, and it runs for a standard 30 minutes to deliver healing photons to your bloodstream. The alignment of the lasers are angled, so they follow the line of your blood vessels that are very close to your skin, just on your wrist. So you can wear this unit and do your day-to-day activities and not be tethered to a machine. We already produced a cold laser wrist, but it required to be powered by a generator, which of course means it's not quite so convenient. You've got to sit down or lie down while your treatment's taking place. But we've got it all self-contained in our cold laser wrist. It's simple to use. You power it on and then just press start again and it goes through its program. It has got other options, it can flash and do other things, but it's just simple to be able to turn on and just run. It's a bit of a no-brainer. We've got its bigger brother, Cold Laser X. Cold Laser Wrist X, I should say. Now this is our Cold Laser Wrist X. It shares the features of the regular cold laser wrist, but it's got some extra features. It's got more cold lasers at the exposed at the back for your veins. It's also got special LEDs with the colors for maximum healing. So it's very similar to the cold laser wrist, but with the additional lasers. So it's higher power. It's got other things inside here which make it better, like the batteries are larger battery and the controls are better. It's also got, well, both of them have got sockets for an accessory that's supplied when you buy these. The regular cold laser wrist has got a single laser accessory that you can put up one nostril or put it into your ear. The cold laser wrist has got an accessory for, especially for putting up both of your nostrils, I should say. So you can simultaneously irradiate your up your nasal passages, sinuses. That's the word I was trying to think of. Yeah, must have been a very hard day. But yeah, that's our cold laser wrist. Similar thing, you just turn it on, it can run. You can also choose between different program types, whether it's flashing or continuous, things like that. There's more details on our website, which is HeaWea.com. That is MiraMate.com. That's MiraMate.com. So those are our 2 portable cold laser devices. They're very, very convenient. The fact that you can wear it like a watch means that you can even work at work, you can wear it while you're driving to work. The health benefits are blood purification. It makes the red blood cells quite often clump together, and that's very hazardous to your health for several reasons. It prevents the efficient exchange of oxygen and CO2 that the hemoglobin does. But when the blood cells are separated, you get the greater surface area. It also helps with the white cells as well. But it also kills the pathogens in your blood. So if you have a blood-borne disease, cold laser wrist would certainly be of benefit to you. Each cold laser is still 5 milliwatts, so it's not going to burn holes in your wrist. But because there's so many and they're located aligned with your blood vessels, the blood gets exposed to the cold laser light therapy longer than if it was just a single light point. Well, I'm going to show you something that's got a cannon as part of its accessories. Now, you know, Clive, when men hit the ripe old age of 60 or more than half of them will have an enlarged prostate. They'll have to water the flowers multiple times during the night. It's a given. People say that, well, doctors say that if you live long enough, you will have an enlarged prostate. So we're going from a percentage to it's a definite. It's just the way that our bodies have been designed. We've got strengths and we've got weaknesses. And one such weakness for men is the prostate. And of course, the inconvenience and health problems that it causes. And the inconveniences, of course, you're having to urinate often, having difficulty urinating or empty your bowel fully. Because, you know, Clive, getting up to water the flowers several times a night is detrimental for your sleep patterns. Other health things, health problems will cascade from your prostate. One thing that can take a hit is your immune system. Once your immune system is low, then you can't fight the multiple cancer microtumors that everybody has in their body, which your immune system keeps at bay. One of those finds a place to anchor down, and your immune system hasn't got the energy to destroy it. And then you've got cancer. And you think, well, how did the cancer start? Goodness knows how. Well, the fact is, you could well have an enlarged prostate, which means you went to the toilet often, you're having to work during the day in a haze because you're semi-awake, semi-asleep, and your body's not functioning at its full potential, and your immune system is taking a hammering. I mean, that was just one example, Clive. There's a multitude of illnesses that can be created from something as simple as not being able to urinate properly. We discovered 2 papers written in Chinese, studies, proper professional studies with participants. They wanted to find out whether they could resolve the problem of enlarged prostate in men through the use of acupuncture. They were using needles and microstimulation. And no, this device hasn't got needles, Clive. I saw your eyes sort of widen a little bit there. No, you can rest assured it doesn't have needles, but it does have a cannon. But they found that they had a similar or better effect from needles by using high intensity LEDs. And they perfected the system. They're very knowledgeable in the meridian energy flow in the body, and they're applying this scientifically. They were measuring after, you know, at set periods of time, at intervals. They're doing MRI scans of the prostate gland, and they're taking it down to, you know, fractions of a millimeter the size of the of the prostate, and they weren't just going by hearsay or by digital examination, although that was part of the study. Two independent studies came up with the same device. Would you believe it? The same method, not quite the same device, but the same method of where and how and what intensities to apply the light. Now I'll describe it to you before I show this device. You put a blanket of high intensity LED light over the front lower part of your torso, and you do a similar thing to the back at the opposing position. You place an extremely single high intensity LED light source. The wavelengths, by the way, Clive de Carle, are extremely important. It has to be a particular type of LED, and that's exactly the same one that we've used now. It looks red, but it's a very narrow beam red. The cannon, that we call it, you place between the scrotum and your anus. There's a little, there's a spot there which is a meridian point, and the cannon is a necessary part of this treatment. Well, at this point in time, I'll show you the unit. It's large because we couldn't make anything very powerful much smaller. So this is the main driving unit of the prostate pack that we call it. We wanted it to have large buttons because the age group of people that will be using it will generally be 50 plus years, and they don't really want to be putting on their glasses to see how to control it. And we only put 5 buttons on it because, again, we wanted it nice and simple. So that's the main unit. It's got the standard power input socket, which accepts 110 volts or 230 volts, 50 or 60 hertz on off switch. And it's got 2 little sockets. One socket is for the cannon and one is for the stormtroopers, the Star Wars stormtrooper costume, which I like to call it. This is the front piece that you strap onto the lower part of your body. On the other side is this pad. Both units have got a huge number of LEDs in them. Each LED is quite high power. The cannon is this unit here. Where the cannon is placed, it's normally quite a hostile environment, one might say. The studies that were taken used, do you have Glad wrap in the UK? It's a plastic food wrap. Okay, well, it's I think Sarin is another brand name. It's a thin plastic food wrap that you wrap your sandwiches in. And I know British people still eat sandwiches and plenty of them. So you just put a single layer of plastic over that before you use it, and after use, you just throw the plastic away. Now, there's quite a few prostate treatment systems around, but our system has been proven to be far superior to these other systems. They had the age group of between 50 and 80, and all these people had had acupuncture, medication, and the studies listed the drugs that have been taken to reduce the size of the prostate, and they weren't successful in any of those methods. So the people that were participating in the studies were the no-hopers. They were the tough cases. And of a large group of people, I think it was only 3 that didn't have a response out of a group of maybe 27, 28 in this one particular study. The other study was 100% response rate, but they might have been more careful with the people that they chose. But so this prostate pack is it's an amazing machine. We modelled it exactly to the unit that they finally found to be optimal in these two studies, exact with the LED placement, the number of LEDs, the total power, the type of LEDs, and even the program that's run, the duration, is fully automated in our unit. This unit isn't portable, but I don't think you'd want it to be portable. People will be thinking you're going to a fancy dress party, and they'll be wondering what's that thing doing down below. But you know, I haven't met any man that would not be embarrassed to be going to a clinic to be treated with this kind of device. We are considering selling this device only to clinics because it really is it's a big unit. It's not ugly, but it's certainly, it's substantial. But we decided no, our focus has always been to the end user, not to clinics so they can charge people to come and use our machines. And we wanted people to be able to treat themselves because it's an embarrassing condition, it's an embarrassing treatment. People can use this machine in their own home, in their own bedroom, just lie down, draw the curtains and apply the healing rays to themselves. Without fear of of someone in a white coat, that's the embarrassment of being in a doctor's surgery is quite a. I think that's a big factor, a big reason why so many men don't seek treatment, even though they have to go up, wake up often during the night time to urinate, and their flow rate has become reduced. I think it's just the embarrassment side and also the inconvenience of having to go to a clinic. So this device can be used in the privacy of your own home. It empowers men. Okay, it means that you can take control over a health condition that you will get if you're lucky enough to live old enough. So yeah, this is another device that we are very, very proud of. Yeah, so those are the three light-based treatment devices that we have released. The treatment time of the prostate pack is 30 minutes standard, but you can change it. You can change different modes as well. You can program it so it only puts out red light or blue light or red and then blue after a certain time. The automatic mode, which is the one that you get if you just start it without doing any changes, that has 5 minutes of the one light and it changes to the other. But you've got control if you really want to get complicated and do it. But it's a machine that you can use it without reading the manual, and you can use it optimally.
I like that.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. And how long might it take before somebody feel suddenly now they're urinating less at night? How long might it take to be effective?
I believe it's something like 2 months before effects started to be seen. The reduction started fairly quickly, but the obvious benefits like the urination, the frequency of having to visit the toilet, or the flow rate of the urine, that took a little while. What I can do perhaps is send you a translation of the studies that were performed. It's actually riveting reading. It's very interesting because before I looked at the studies, I thought we were starting from square one, but the work had been done already. But because it was done in a cold laser device, it's not available to Western countries. But we translated the two documents and modeled our machine around the results that they found. And they go into quite good detail. It's quite interesting that when, not just this, these two studies, but other studies, Chinese people, they write things differently, and the way they think is a little bit different. They don't look at the problem, those are the blinkers, and then that's what we're going to do. They go from all different angles. And they apply things which you wouldn't normally think would work. And then if they do, they develop it. I mean, who would have thought that putting a tremendously powerful light beam in a place where the sun seldom shines would help your prostate? But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because that's the closest point on your body to the prostate. It's very close to that particular point between the scrotum and your anus. And that is where a meridian point is. There's an energy river, if you like, straight from there to the prostate. They knew it because they know Chinese traditional medicine. And they're applying ancient knowledge with knowledge known today. Now, back 2,000 years ago, they didn't have the ability to create high energy light beams like we do now, but they had needles, and so they used to stick needles where it probably hurts the most to do the same thing, and that does work as well. The body has got acupuncture points for different organs of their body located elsewhere in the body, and the prostate organ will be somewhere on your ears, but somewhere. But here the light cannon directly, very closely hits the meridian that's closest to the prostate gland. So I'd say that this method would be better than using acupuncture needles for the prostate.
And so let's say it takes a couple of months before people start to feel the effect. Let's say they're getting up 3-4 times a night.
Yes.
How long might it take for them to be sleeping through the night again as they did when they were younger?
A clinical study was done on a device identical to the prostate pack. Was titled Clinical Observation of LED Narrowband Red Light Therapy on Prostatic Hyperplasia, which is the swollen prostate. This was a translated document, translated from Chinese, from July to November 2006, July, August, September. That's 6 months. In 2006, 30 cases of patients with prostatic hyperplasia were treated with LED prostate treatment instrument. They've got bad English. And significant results were achieved. Now it's quite a detailed report, but I'll summarize. 30 people with prostatic hyperplasia came from the physical examination center, an outpatient clinic in our hospital. It was run within a hospital. They were 46 to 79 years old, with an average age of 64.1 years of age. 2 of them were under 50. 10 were 50 to 60, 9 were 61 to 70, and 9 were over 70. And they even talked about their jobs, their vocations. Among them, there are 18 officials. Officials means they work for the government. 6 doctors and 6 workers. Workers means anything that's retail or even all road workers or anything like that. The course of disease is 1 to 20 years, which means they had the problem between 1 and 20 years, with an average of 7.28 years of having to tolerate having a enlarged prostate. Okay. The clinical manifestations were waiting for the urine flow, urgent urination, frequent nocturia, which means waking up and having to go toilet, intermittent urination, incomplete urination, laborious urination, and dysuria. There are 2 cases with dull pain and burning discomfort in the perineum and the penis. 2 had a history of urination retention. 21 of these people, of the 30, had a history of medical treatment, previous medical treatment, and they give the drugs that were used, the Proscar, Harnal, Tirazonine, this sounds like a Chinese one, Qian Li Kang, Jin Xiu Bao, Miao Xiao Tong, and Qian Lai Bao. Among them, 14 cases showed no significant improvement in conditions from the drugs or the signs after completion of the course of the drugs. 2 cases with acupuncture, radionuclide radiation, and electrostatic field therapy showed no improvement. So they really were hopeless cases. Among the 30 cases, 5 had hypertension, 10 had coronary heart disease, 4 had NAC infarction, 2 had type 2 diabetes, 3 had hyperlipidemia or fatty liver, 4 had chronic gastritis or duodenal ulcers. They're talking about really difficult cases, and they took them on. There were even doctors that worked in this hospital that they did the case. All 30 cases were confirmed to be prostate hyperplasia by B-mode ultrasound anal examination. The average size of the prostates before treatment was 49.3 millimeters across by 37.9 millimeters again. Okay, methods. They used their machine, which is identical to our prostate pack, with their own special cannon, high power. During treatment, the patient lay down. They call it the supine position because it's a research document. They always use, the long words when a simple one would suffice. And each time the irradiation light source was wrapped with a single layer of low-density polyethylene food preservation film, that's food wrap, sandwich wrap, and the film was discarded and replaced after the treatment was completed to ensure that the light source was kept clean and there's no cross-infections. Now that spot between your scrotum and your anus is called that perineum, and they put their small light and powerful light source there. The large light source head was aimed at the lower abdomen, which are the I'll try and say this, are the Chulgu, Jongi, and Guanyan acupoints. Irradiation treatment time for each of the participants was 30 minutes, and the course of treatment they applied in the initial test was 15 to 20 days. Remember I said to you several months before they saw results. This particular trial was 15 to 20 days for a course of treatment, and they did 2 consecutive courses of treatment for this study. So it's 30 to 40 days total. During the treatment, the drugs and other treatment methods that were being used for the prostatic hyperplasia were discontinued, and clinical observation was used for the analysis of the results. Okay, they rated the results like this. Effective means the main symptoms have basically disappeared, which means the urination and pain issues. If it gets quite technical here, they called it the PSS score. If the main symptoms are reduced, you get 60% effective. Maybe I should send you the document because it's showing by diagrams as well. But basically, here's the results. This is the important part. In 30 patients overall, 17 were markedly effective, accounting for 56.7% of all cases. They define markedly effective as no more symptoms. The main symptoms have basically disappeared. 11 cases were effective. By effective means the main symptoms are reduced. 2 cases were ineffective, which is 6.7%. Ineffective means there's no changes in the symptoms that meet the criteria of markedly effective or effective. What's important to note is that the 2 people that were ineffective were both over the age of 65. They don't state whether they were the people that had diabetes or other underlying health issues. Now, this was after 2 courses of the prostate treatment device. Because you can have this unit in your home, of course, you can treat yourself for more than twice and continue until you have 0 symptoms. Okay. The difference in the markedly effective rate of different age groups was statistically significant. They found, but the rate of the effective rate of treatment was not significantly effective. So to be markedly effective, what they found, it was generally it was important that you were younger to be markedly effective, but to be effective, you can be any age. I guess what the summary is really stating is that for the older you get, the more difficult it is to have markedly effective results, and you may have to repeat treatments. They did it for 2 courses. Each course was 15 to 20 days, so 30 to 40 days total, and then they drew the conclusions from that. What I'd say is that after, if you get an effective result, to raise yourself up to the markedly effective, which means 0 symptoms and a prostate reduced, shrunken down to normal size, you may have to repeat more than twice the protocol. Well, that was a bit of a difficult study to summarize, but that's what it found. We did. There was another study, but it's very, very similar results to this one. But the other study gave even better results. So it would have been a better one to give as an example. But I think in a realistic world, you wouldn't expect something you've carried for a long time. Let's say you've had a prostate issue for 10 years. You wouldn't expect it to be alleviated completely within 40 days. But some of these participants had an enlarged prostate for 20 years, the range being 1 to 20 years. So considering that we had a pronounced result from people that had a swollen prostate for 20 years, I think that's highly impressive. So
I think a lot of people are going to be very, very interested in that.
Extremely interested. It's a sort of thing that men don't like talking about. It's the word, you go to a party, it's never going to come up in a party, is it? You don't talk about it to even to your friends. It's sort of like not a cool thing to talk about. But you can and you can buy one of these and take it home and just use it in the privacy of your home, and no one's got to know except us. But you know, and we've made it incredibly cheap. I'll see whether we can. Being me, I don't know what the price is, but I'll find out now. Let's say if you go over to miramate.com, that's miramate.com. I guess this is the really cool thing. You wanted it cheap because you want to sell this in big volume. This, right, the main unit, and it's not full of air either. It's got whiz-bang electronics in it, and these large units that you buckle up in, right, and the LED cannon that goes that you put onto your nether regions. You wouldn't believe it. We are selling that at the moment for $351.
Oh, well, that's very encouraging.
Very
That's very good.
encouraging. Normal price is $4.39, so I think I'd recommend people get them while it's so low. That's an introductory price that we are selling it at. It's pretty much cost. We want it out there so people start talking about it. We get reviews back, and that's going to help us in our sales. So yeah, if you can take advantage of the offer and $351. I mean, what's that? That's that's um, that's extremely cheap. I don't know how you convert with, but you'd be familiar, wouldn't you? Because that's US dollars too, 351. But that is very, very cheap. I'm sure we've made a mistake there somewhere, Clive. I'm sure we've made a mistake. So buy it before we correct it. So yeah, that's a device which is not for women, only for men, only for one specific condition. It won't make your hair grow or do anything like this. It will only treat the prostate. Righty?
Well, clearly, in one sense, it is for women because they won't have to be woken up by their husband getting out of bed. So
That's right. That's right. That's
yeah.
right.
It's a massive thing. Clearly,
It is a big thing. It is a big thing. And I can't think of anyone else that's really doing it, made a really serious device like how we have to address the prostate problem. There's medication which has been shown with these other studies where they didn't work for the participants in the study. They're at what's end. Even acupuncture didn't work for them. They'd irradiated their prostate, for goodness sake, with this, and that didn't work. You're killing parts of your body to try and so this machine solved their problems, and it could well solve the viewers of this video as well. And for that price, I mean, that's a crazy price. And it's a very, very high quality product. We didn't go small on that. The display is large numbers. We haven't cut corners at all. I'm chewing at the bit, Clive, to show you our last device.
Okay. Just before you do, let me just clarify. With the two devices we looked at earlier, the wrist lasers, why would anybody choose the less expensive version? Wouldn't everybody just want the full-on version? What would be the reason that somebody might choose the cheap one?
It's a very good question. Why would someone? Well, not everyone is Clive de Carle, so they've got a limit to the depths of their pockets, right? Some people have got they can't afford things that are that are more expensive. We try where possible, Clive, to provide a cheap version of things, as best we can. But we decided, it's like our generators. We've got our XM generators. They're a really good workhorse. Nothing wrong with them. And we keep the price down as low as possible. Because they're low, the volumes are up, so we keep the price down. We had a price reduction, and we brought them down to, it was $100 and something. We managed to bring them down to $100 because it's such a popular generator. We could buy more components at a cheaper price, and then we pass that down to our happy customers. So we made a cheap option of the laser wrist, but we also wanted to have one with everything maxed out, so that it's the best you can possibly have as a treatment device for irradiating your blood on your wrist. And this is what our wrist X is, with the different colors. Different colors do different things, as you well know. And so we've got the different colors of the LEDs to supplement or complement, I should say, the cold lasers that are also on the device. But having done all of this and all the theories and everything, we're finding the cold laser wrist X is way and above outselling the cheaper model, way above, because people, and they're making, I feel, the right decision too. They think, well, if it's $100, it's you know what it's like, Clive. You look at product, item A and item B, and item B is so much better, but it's more expensive. You very well know, if you buy product A, yeah, you're saving more. The thrill of the saving of the price lasts for maybe a week. You've got a device that's going to last years, and for the rest of the time, you're going to be thinking, gosh, I wish I paid that little bit more and got that model which has the features which I would have kind of wanted, but I compromised at the beginning. People are making the decision to buy the Wrist X, the wise decision, I think, because they know that in a year's time they'll be looking down and knowing, yeah, this is the baby, this is the one that gave the best results in all the trials. We base all these units on other trials that are performed, and this is the best one. They didn't get number 2, they got number 1. And you think, a visit to the doctor, even just the privilege of knocking on his door is going to cost you 50 euros or 60, pounds or whatever. They know, they're not shy in looking into your wallet and taking a little bit out from there. It doesn't take too many visits to the doctor to pay for a device that can treat you better, because you're not putting anything unnatural into your body. Photons are natural.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, in England, just the cost of going into the car park and parking your car is a fortune. They're milking everybody in England.
Isn't it criminal?
It is criminal. Well, they are criminals. One of the lasers that's been interesting me, I think it's called LayPack, which is the one they use for regrowing gums and teeth. Have you seen that one?
No, not that.
That's one that I'd like you to develop next. Something will fix teeth.
That'll be interesting. Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
Because there's.
I'll send you a link to it. The technology isn't new, and there are dentists using it. And again, it's fairly long term. It's maybe 6 months or so, but the pictures are quite impressive as to the regrowth of the whole sort of dental area.
Really? Is it shaped like dentures, a transparent denture with laser lights or LED?
I haven't studied it that deeply. I'm just literally only stumbled across it this week, so I'm sort of just at the beginning of trying to figure it out. But having been victim of psychopathic dentists, I now want to be totally in control. I mean, people don't even realize that you can regrow cavities. Somebody wakes up in the morning with a cavity. Well, all they've got to do is leave that tooth alone. I mean, if you get a cavity in your finger, it's a cut, right? It heals. Get a cavity in your fingernail, like a broken fingernail, you don't get it filled, you just let it regrow. You've got a cavity in your tooth, you can regrow it. You just don't pour Coca-Cola and coffee in there, and you maybe fast for a couple of days. Make sure you've got enough vitamins and minerals to regrow that cavity, and a day later, it should have filled up again. People panic because it hurts, and they go to a dentist. It's
right.
And once they go to the dentist once, as you know, then that tooth is eventually lost.
That's right. That's right. Teeth are living. They're they're living, and the body's got a habit of healing itself if it's given half the chance. I guess if you have got cavities, supplementing your diet or making sure you have the necessary minerals so your body can repair the tooth will be also important. The
vitamin K2, super important for teeth.
Yes.
Vitamin K2. I actually did an interview some time ago about doctors who were using, I think it was 635 nanometer light up the nose, as your device does, to stimulate the brain. They were claiming they were reversing Alzheimer's and dementia with red lights up the nose. Is that the reason that you've got the nasal one?
Yes, it's a direct pathway to your brain there. But I'll have a guess. That device that they developed didn't go very far. I'm guessing that it didn't make it to the mainstream. Generally, if it doesn't involve a poison that you swallow, generally it isn't. It's either blocked or suppressed in some way. It's a sad fact that the medical system isn't quite ideal, one might say, to put it euphemistically. But there are people like ourselves who find good, honest solutions, not just for machines to heal you, but to give your own body a chance to heal itself. And laser light's good for this because it gives your very cells more energy so they can start working again properly. Yeah.
Well, this is it, isn't it? Photons, electrons, they're pumping raw energy into your body, allowing your body that might have been compromised, not working properly, to suddenly go immediately into working properly again. The speed of these sort of things are interesting. So I know you want to tell me about your fourth.
No, I'm not going to tell you now. I'm going to wait a year. No, I couldn't do that even if I wanted to, because I'm really bursting to show you. We were developing a portable generator. We're very established in our existing generators. We have NXM and Generator X, and we learned a lot from the process of creating generators. Frequency generators are not easy to design, but we've got a lot of experience now. We're thinking we can do it, and let's just try. I thought our initial requirements were a generator that didn't need to be plugged in. It could store frequencies and could be programmed by a computer for these frequencies. We achieved all those goals, but we found that because electronics had advanced quite a bit from the designs of our other generators, we could make it more powerful than our initial criteria. We ended up with a device which can run up to 2 megahertz. It can apply both pulsed DC or AC. It can supply microcurrent treatments. It can hold 1,000 frequencies. It can run for a guaranteed 24 hours, but we just say that because we're too shy to say how long it really lasts, which is more in the order of about 30 hours of continuous running. Charges in 5 hours. It actually charges in less, but after 5 hours, it does an automatic calibration routine, so we'd say 5. And uses the huge, spooky database of programs. So for viewers that aren't familiar with Spooky, this is the hardware and software platform that we've used for frequency treatments in the past, and it will be in the future. We wanted to make this unit fully compatible with the same database, so it could share the huge number of programs that are within the database. It's something like 40,000+ programs, as you know. So we've developed this generator. That's it there. It's got a single button operation. You turn it on, you'll guess which button to press. It's this one here, and it turns on. The LED lights indicate the battery charge that's still within the unit. At the moment, it's got 4 bars of light, so it's not fully charged. If you press the button quickly, it shows you the power level. The power level always starts in the lowest power level because that's the safest power level. You increment it by pressing it quickly. It goes up to the next one, up, right up to power level number 5. And then it goes back to 1 again. It cycles. Physically, it can be worn around your neck on a lanyard. tucked into your clothing. Look, it's gone. People won't know you're treating yourself. Contact mode throughout the day. It can be placed in your pocket as well because it's smaller than a pack of cards. It has a lot of cool features to it. The base of the unit has got a cover which you just opened up. I've pushed it. This is the socket, where the sockets are. It's got a USB-C port that you plug into the computer. It's a electron vampire. You plug it into any USB port, whether it's a computer or a phone charge or anything that's a 5-volt USB port, it'll suck the energy out and start charging itself. If it's a computer USB port, you can program it whilst it's being charged if you want it to be programmed. The program lasts forever until you reprogram it. When you program the unit, it overwrites the existing program. It doesn't ask any silly questions, are you sure of this or that? It's extremely simple software to use. It's got a port where you plug in the TENS cable. It's a regular 3.5mm audio type plug that plugs in there. The other end of the TENS cable just plugs into a TENS pad or 2 TENS pads. You just place over where you want to have your treatment. It's got different modes of operation. It can be programmed in a very simple way. It's just one button. It can be programmed to run continuously, the frequencies that you've loaded into it, or it can be programmed to run the frequencies and then stop. One single button operation is for lifestyle frequency treatments, which is high power, which I'll get into just in a moment. Another button for microcurrent treatments. A button for blood purifier, the Bob Becker blood purifier. You turn the software on, plug it in, push one button, Clive, and this unit becomes a blood purifier. It'll run the exact blood purifier protocol over the course of 2 hours, exact voltages, and then turn off automatically. It's as simple as that. It's also got a Holder-Clark zapper mode as well, where it turns this into a zapper. It runs for 63 minutes and then turns off. It follows the protocol that was recommended by Holder-Clark. So you've got a zapper, blood purifier, microcurrent frequency treatment device, which is fantastic for chronic conditions, as well as a high power frequency device. What is high power, you're thinking at the moment? We've got generators at the moment that can do 20 volts peak to peak. And we decided, no, we won't be shy. We'll take it. We'll go all out. This is 60 volts output AC. So it's a high power device. If you program using the high power cable, then low frequencies, the software automatically increases the frequencies to above 20 kilohertz. So it's above the threshold of your body, so you don't feel the treatments. There's a trick in the software where you can apply low frequencies at high power. Some people have questioned whether it is actually working because they can't feel anything. So we explained the trick. And then they come back and say, I wish you hadn't told us that. Because high power, you imagine, Clive, 60 volts at something like 50 hertz. It really does hurt. That's there's a reason why they call it hertz. And it does hurt. It's a powerful device. The generator is a current, constant current device. It will monitor the current passing through your body and always adjust it to safe levels. So you can't fry yourself even though it's a 60 volt device. It's got a multitude of features, both internally and externally. It is a beautiful little device. It doesn't really look like a frequency generator. It's got a case that the unit fits into. and it's that case that the lanyard attaches to. But the generator itself can be unclipped if you want to have it in your pocket without any case or any tethering whatsoever, if you feel comfortable having it in the pocket. It's designed for people on the go, on the move, that really don't want to be sitting down for half an hour or more for their treatments. And you know, Clive, contact mode treatments are extremely good, but the biggest flaw is having to be tethered to a machine. We've got already remote treatment modes, but a lot of people think that this is it's just your mind playing games. It's that it doesn't actually work very well at all. It does, but some people have got a mindset it doesn't, and they don't even try it. This device gives physical electrons into your body, and the electrons pass between the two pads. You can feel the treatments if you do a treatment like blood purifier or zapper mode. You can feel those, and people are more comfortable with feeling jolts in their body if they, you know, they think, well, they can feel it, so the bugs must be feeling it as well. Because it goes up to 2 megahertz, which is quite extraordinarily high for such a small device, it can reach the original Royal Rife frequencies. If you've got something like a tumor, you really want to be applying cancer frequencies directly across the tumor. And to think that now, instead of just applying contact mode treatments of these frequencies for half an hour, you can apply them throughout the whole day and still continue your daily activities, apart from swimming, of course. It's quite a godsend. So it's a device which I knew would sell well. I knew there was a need for it, and now it's out. I use one myself because it's just so convenient. It's, you know, it ticks every single box. It's small, it's portable, it's powerful, it's simple. There's nothing which it doesn't have. Similar devices, Clive, to this only reach the high kilohertz range. These are the thousands of hertz range, but 2 megahertz is quite extraordinary. The electronics in here is quite advanced, as in very advanced. I think all the componentry had to be sourced from America, because that's where most of the quality components come from, sad to say. The microprocessors that are in here, the FPGA, the DDS modules, all of those, we decided, no, let's pull out all the stops. So it's the absolute Rolls Royce of portable treatment frequency devices. So this is the king or queen of portable frequency treatment devices. It's called HeaWea MicroGen. HeaWea as in healing wearables. You can see it at HeaWea.com, HeaWea.com. And the model is MicroGen, micro depicting really its small size. We squeeze an awful lot into a very, very small case. You know, you would have no idea, Clive, just how many hundreds and hundreds of hours was poured into even the concept of this device. Now, being an engineer, I know that it's all very well designing something small, but almost without fail, there has to be some form of compromise. Now, this compromise isn't shown to the consumer, but it might be something like the slew rate, which is the speed at which a signal changes. When you go into contact mode, it's extremely important that the slew rate is as high as possible. Without a high slew rate, the signals aren't going to enter your cells. You'll still be able to boast in your spec sheet that you reached 2 megahertz, but it will not be a useful 2 megahertz. And we didn't want to lie. So we wanted to have a product that was both good on paper, but also good in treatments. And this device has got a remarkable slew rate. It's in the order of 25 nanosecond, which is, nano is a 1,000th of a millionth of a second. So we're talking really, really exotic electronics in this unit. There's another thing too, we almost had this unit finished, and then we found out something which we weren't comfortable with. It's called jitter. Jitter is another thing that they don't show in specification sheets anywhere. And I don't think we do too, actually. But we found that we had a problem. We could have I'll give an example. Let's say you you can eat. It's quite simple to design a frequency generation device, but jitter is critical. Jitter is this. I can create, it's easy to create, say, an exact 1.607450 megahertz signal. That's a signal for cancer. Exactly 0.000 megahertz, right? But there's a fly in the ointment. That device will provide the exact frequency, and then it'll have an internal correction in the MCU, and then it'll give another period of the exact frequency. But between one block and the next, there's a phase shift. That phase shift, in a biological sense, will disrupt the very thing that a biological frequency treatment device is trying to do, which is to resonate something physical, and in this case, cells. And it's the cells of pathogens. So jitter is possibly the most important specification for any biological treatment frequency device, and it's never even mentioned. Now, we had a jitter. We had a very small jitter in certain frequencies, just through the nature of maths and physics. The jitter was larger. In some cases, there was zero jitter because it matched the internal clock speed of the MCU, so it was perfect. But in most cases, there was a jitter, and in some cases, it was bad. So we had to go back, and we had to pick out most of the components that we were using and start again. And so we had to, it wasn't square one, but we had to redesign the method that we used, and we realized that we had to use different techniques, and these techniques weren't easy, they weren't cheap, and needed more components. And of course, being such a small generator, we didn't have much space, but it had to be done, so we did it. And in the end, we have created a generator which has got zero jitter. Zero, like not even 0.0000000. It's got zero jitter. I want to say one more thing about this generator. Most generators, Clive, you know this, because you've been in the field for a long time, the accuracy is like 2 decimal places. For the high megahertz range, it's the same thing. Most generators are like 2 megahertz or even 1 decimal place resolution. You wouldn't believe this, Clive. This generator has got 6 decimal place resolution. And it's precise when it does it too. It's not like, roughly, but it's still got 6 decimal places. It's really precise. It's more accurate than any of our existing generators. Any of them. It's more accurate than any other generator that we have tested. And we've got very accurate frequency testing instruments. It's just remarkable. So we've got a device that can not just do 1.607450 megahertz. It can do 1.60 okay, I'll talk in hertz then. Instead of 201.11 hertz, it can do 201.111111 hertz. And you know, it will be that frequency. It's precise. And without the jitter, it means those frequencies are not going to wander or phase shift suddenly. For people that are watching this video, and if you're technically inclined and you've got an oscilloscope, turn off auto trigger on the oscilloscope, use an external trigger, find a part in the circuit board where it's got a clock that you can trigger off that, and watch what the waveform does. You'll see it'll bounce like this all the time. You won't see it if you have auto trigger on, because it triggers at the start point of one of the jitters, and you'll always see a stable waveform. But if you have an external trigger, you'll see the jitter. And you think to yourself, what is that doing to your treatments? Our other frequency generators have not got jitter because we didn't cut corners on them. And this generator, because it was such small size, we decided to do things in a different way. We were unsuccessful. And so we had to do it the long and hard way. Holds 1,000 frequencies, Clive. 1,000 frequencies.
Well, it's very, very impressive. You know, it's interesting in England, and I think maybe around the world, there has been a sort of wave of interest in portable frequency devices because of this device. I'm sure you've heard of it, called the HeaWea. You've come across that little device?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, the phrase, it sounds very much like our unit, HeaWea. They sound very similar.
Well, exactly. I tried it, and I didn't get a great feeling about it, particularly when I heard what the prices were of buying more frequency packs and so on. So it sounds like you have a device there that's, I don't know, 100 times more effective and useful for a tiny fraction of the price. Would you say that might be accurate?
Well, I think I've never and will never compare our product with a particular brand. But I would give this advice to anyone that's looking at buying a frequency treatment device. Don't look beyond just the price of the unit, because some people they make their money not on the main unit, but on the programs. And so and don't think small numbers, think big numbers too. And now Clive is sort of realizing this. There's a reason why their base unit is cheap. It's because you can't run it without their frequencies. You cannot put other frequencies in there. You've got to insert the special card, which has got secret squirrel frequencies in. And you've got to pay through the nose to get them. It's like $60 or something for one brand. It's expensive. And this is for one program, one type of treatment. And wouldn't it be kind of cool to have a machine that frequencies are free? It's got more frequencies than you'd ever want to have. I mean, anyone that knows the database knows that we have got the largest database in the world, and it's growing all the time. The database is always updated. We've got the DNA sequence of the coronavirus, COVID-19, from days ago in the database. It's updated every week. So you're going to have up-to-date information. Who wants to buy stale bread or not have frequencies for strains that have just arrived in your neck of the woods? But you've got to wait for months before these people, create their frequencies. Well, you can get it straight from us. We've derived our own method of DNA frequencies. We've published this method in several journals and released it into the wild, so it cannot be patented. We do not want people to make money from frequencies which are natural. Frequencies should not be something which is charged for. A device that can be programmed by yourself. Let's say you've got frequencies that have worked for you. from other devices or just from someone else. They've given you a set of frequencies. You can put them into this device for free. That's, we don't want to have, we don't want to be always having your hand in your pocket, which is really what's happening with other companies. And you get this, I guess, with vertical marketing type, products where you're having to pay 5, 10 different people that each getting little fractions of, it's a pyramid type scheme. We just don't go there, It's just too complicated and it's wrong. We think, well, sell the device. It's a fantastic device. It heals. It does all these words I'm not allowed to say on there. And it's a one-off cost. And once you've got it, you've got it. And it becomes your best mate. You keep it in your medicine drawer or you use it every day. And it's going to last years because we used a battery that we bought the battery from the factory because we wanted it nice and fresh when it goes out from us to the consumer, not waiting in stock for a year or two because they age, even just through resting on shelves. And we bought the battery from a factory that's got full certification. It's got their name on the battery. The battery's got a plug, so after 5 or 10 years, if the battery decides to retire, you can replace it with an industrial standard size battery. It's not double or triple A, but it is a standard size. We don't make things hard for customers. It would annoy me if after 5 years, batteries don't last forever, let's face it. But I don't want to throw something really precious of mine away just because the battery's flat. So after 5 years, your warranty would have long run out. And so, I'd open it up and see what's inside. And I'd see a battery. The battery's got the battery size on it, on the sticker. I'd then search locally, find a battery locally, and it's got a standard plug as well, and plug a new battery in. And then I've got another, X number of years use out of it. Maybe not the same length as what it did originally because our battery was quite expensive, but you still get it, it'll be revived again. That's the sort of product I want. And I always put myself in the position of the consumer. I think to myself, would I buy that? Would I buy the prostate pack if I had a prostate problem? Heck yeah. I'd buy it, at the drop of a hat. And certainly at the price that we sell it at. Or the MiraMate cold laser wrist units. I know there's other wrist treatment devices on the market which are similar to that, but our one is better because it's got the cold laser instead of the LED only. We want to, we've taken steps to make them better, and the placement and other things. We've made them better, and certainly that's the product I'd want. And this little baby here, this one, wow, this is definitely something which I'd buy in a microsecond because it ticks every single box. For me, it's important that every single frequency is reached that's in the database, including the very high rife frequencies. Why make it compromise and apply a subharmonic of the frequency? Why play games with cancer or other serious conditions when you can hit the frequencies directly? So this can do it. And it's not like the 30 volt limit that other generators have. This is a full whack, 60 volts, and it's got full constant current circuit protection. So you're not going to kill it if the pads short out or it's a very, very clever device. The software that I designed for it is super simple. Some of your viewers may know the Spooky software, and the feedback I've always had from the Spooky software is that it's complicated. And I've never had an answer because it is complicated. It's fiendishly complicated. But this software for this unit here, I could use it without any training. Anyone can use it without training. Someone can use that software without being familiar with a computer. In fact, I could explain it in almost one sentence, how you program this. two sentences. The first is the hardware, and the second one is the software. You plug in the USB cable between your computer and your generator. That's sentence number one. Sentence number two, choose the button you want to turn this into. You want to turn it into a zapper, you push one button. You want to turn it into a blood purifier, you push one button. If you want to turn it into either a microcurrent treatment device, which is similar to FSM, frequency specific microcurrent, or a lifestyle machine, you do just select the programs you want, which is click, 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 and then one button. Was that one sentence? So two sentences, maybe three sentences total. Maybe I exaggerated a little bit, but it's so intuitive. And these buttons are big and bold and at the bottom of the screen. You really can't go wrong. There's nothing complicated at all. Nothing complicated to use. No options. There's no things of what waveform do I use? Do I use phase? What about this output? There's nothing complicated at all. Extremely simple. And of course, you can download the software from HeaWea.com and try it for yourself before you buy the unit. The software will run. You can go right up to the point of where you push the button to program. The software looks for the generator and will say, oops, I can't find it. Do you want me to load the driver and try again? So you can try it out and just see what I mean, just how simple the software is. And a lot of people just don't have the time to learn the optimum way of applying frequencies. Normally this is the case, Clive, actually, where people say to me, look, I'm sick, I've turned to spooky, and I want to use spooky because I've heard it's good and powerful and effective, but I can't drive it because it's too complicated. Some people aren't, they can't put in the time for the learning curve. And that's a very valid excuse. It's not an easy out. And we created presets to make things a little bit easier, but still you've got different tabs to choose from. One tab to select preset and another tab for control. It's still several steps. Now from day one, as we're creating and developing the generator, we wanted the software also to be as simple as possible. The generator, if that only had one button, we wanted the software to also just have one button, or as few as possible. And so with the same mindset of simplicity, without any compromise in effectiveness, we created the software. Have you had a look at the software, Clive? I know you're a very busy man, but perhaps you could take time out to download the software from HeaWea.com and just give your evaluation.
Yes, indeed I will. One of the really famous uses for microcurrent has been for eyes. There are doctors like Dr. Condrot, Dr. Tennant, who are using microcurrent to restore eyesight with incredible success.
Yes.
If somebody wanted to use your device for eyesight, how would they go about that?
If they wanted to use MicroGen for treating macular degeneration of various forms, you'd put it into microcurrent mode, and you would use wet cloth. You'd fold up two small cloths. You could have not just water, but saline is probably better. You place them over your eyes, directly over your eyes, and place the TENS pads over the damp cloth. The TENS pads would only be able to be used in subsequent treatments in a similar situation because they would lose their stickiness. We always tell people to keep the TENS pads dry, but here I'm telling them to place it over water. But that's the best way to apply a uniform electric field on your eyes. And this is how it is done, Clive. The current range is between, I shouldn't really talk at the top of my head, but it's in the order of 100 microamps to 600 microamps, which is the same frequencies, the same current range that was used by Dr. Tennant and others for FSM treatments. Now, this microcurrent frequency treatment is single channel, so it differs from FSM only by that regard. And in all other regards, it's the same. So for treatments for the eyes, when you're applying a single frequency, that's the way that you'd apply the frequency best. Some people would apply, would just use TENS pads directly over the eyes, and that's fine as well. Microcurrents will never cause burning to the eyes. What I gave you earlier was just my recommendation.
Well, very interesting indeed, and I think you're going to have an incredible amount of success with these devices, an incredible demand, clearly. So, well, that's incredibly interesting. Thank you so much for explaining those. And I'm very keen to recommend them to my clients and see the results that come from that.
Yes, no, thank you, Clive. We don't develop anything that we're not excited about. You know, every time that we talk together, I'm always keen to tell you new things, and there's always things I can't quite tell you because they're in development. And it's just been lucky that all three of these things came together at pretty much the same time. We do projects simultaneously. Most of these devices which I've shown today are portable, which is one thing that we do really want to focus on. We want to focus on convenience, so you don't have to compromise quality of life for having to perform these treatments. You can't give the excuse now of, oh, I can't start these treatments because I'm just about to go out and do something. Well, you can do that simultaneously. You can still go out and do your shopping or pay the bills or whatever you want whilst you're having the treatment mode or while you're wearing the cold laser wrist.
So, well, look, fantastic speaking to you, John. I'm very excited about all these products, and I look forward to catching up with you soon, letting you know what results that I've got with my clients, and very keen to hear what comes next.
I always enjoy our talks, Clive, and I enjoyed this one too. I'm proud of what we've achieved. I'm excited with projects that we have on the horizon, but of course, again, I can't tell you these. But for each of these products with the time that I personally have put in and the rest of the team have put in, I think we've achieved miracles. I really think we've, and this prostate pack, gosh, when we stumbled upon these studies and realized there is a solution for men, then we picked up on that. We added another project. Not that we needed another project to keep us busy. Goodness knows we're busy enough as it is. But we are excited too, Clive, with what you've achieved. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show. It's a great privilege to be here. Hey, can I just sneak in just a little bit of a last word? What I'd like to tell people is this is something I'm learning more and more. Just the importance of helping other people. Now, from the very beginning, the reason how Spooky started, then MiraMate and then HeaWea, is to pass love forwards, help people as much as we can in the best way possible, using the expertise that we have, the knowledge that we gain, and the good team of people that are supporting us, the team in the forum and the Facebook and other friends and scientists that we know of. So my advice to people is pass love forwards, help people as much as you can. The benefit to yourself is that your life will become more blessed, and you'll find that luck comes your way. It will come in random forms, but you'll find that overall, when you think back, you'll see that there would have been a paradigm change if you start passing your love forwards, helping other people, and don't expect things in return. It's a life-changing thing. It's more important if you do things without expecting reward, because then it becomes a blind blessing, and those blessings give more brownie points. So just do it. It's a thing that we practice. We support a lot of groups and individuals in many ways. If I ever told you which ways there were, then I'd lose a lot of those brownie points. My point here is that if you help people in the best way possible, it could be small, it could be large, it might be financial, it could be just through action. Usually it's just through action. It'll reflect back onto your life. So that's the last word. It was a long one, but that's really the point I wanted to make. Business doesn't have to be evil. Business can be good. It can be. You could model your whole life around something which rewards other people, and that's what I like to think what we do. Now we create. You could think we make gadgets, bits and bobs, but every single bit and bob has got a part of me and a part of the rest of the team in it. Every bit and bob has got a part of us in it, and we like to think that it's going to make a positive impact in your life, and through that, it'll bounce back onto us. We try and we do things for the right reason. We don't do it for that. We truly do want to make the world and your world a better place to live in. People can live to 80 and be perfectly live to 80 or 90. That's fine. That's all well and good. But what if your quality of life is poor and you're having to go toilet or you can't go toilet properly? I mean, these sort of things, your quality of life is also important. And this is why the prostate pack became just a really, really important project for us, and why we had to put a lot of effort to make that released as soon as possible. So yeah, we're excited. In fact, that's definitely that's a last page, isn't it? Sorry, Clive, but no more words. Look, thank you very much for being on the show. I'm humbled each time. Think that set time aside for me so that I can tell you what we're up to. I'm privileged to have this invitation and be on your show. Thank you.
Well, thank you, John. It's a great privilege for me. I like being at the forefront of things, and to talk to you, of course, you're always at the forefront. So fantastic. Thanks, John.
Okay, you take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.